Okay, welcome to the second video on Aristotle's account of change on Physics, Book 1, Chapter 7. Now, in this video, I'm going to be presenting Aristotle's account of change. And just as how I wanted you to be thinking, I already talked about the paradox, sorry. Okay, so remember from the last video that there's no distinction in Greek between the definite and indefinite articles. So a human being is just human being. Now, focus on words like human being, musician, Pittsburgher. These are all on a grammatical par. So they all indicate something in the same way, right? So you can say the musician is 6 feet tall, the Pittsburgher is 6 feet tall, the human being is 6 feet tall, the bear is 6 feet tall, right? Grammatically, they work in sentences in the same way. But Aristotle wants us to notice that they're not on a metaphysical par. That is, they're not the same type of being. What do I mean? Well, some are merely accidental beings, while others are not. Others are substances. So a human being or a bear is a substance, right? They're thinking back to the categories now, right? Human being is a kind of reality. There are certain things in the world that are human beings. Same with bears. There are certain things in the world that are bears. And an accidental being like a musician, that's going to refer to a primary substance via one of its accidents. And so a musician is going to be designating a substance through an accidental property. So I am a human being, but through one of my accidents, I'm a Carolinian. And the way that Aristotle will put this is he'll say, well, I'm a human being, but per accidents, in virtue of circumstance, right? It's not part of my essence. I'm also a Carolinian. So it is essential to me. It's part of my nature. I can't not be a human being. But I can cease to be a Carolinian, right? I can not be a Carolinian. It's not part of my essence that I'm a Carolinian. And so there's a distinction here between simple things and compound things. And they aren't different things, but they're different ways to describe the same thing. So the underlying thing remains the same and seems to be a substance, but in both cases, both with human beings and musicians, but with musicians or Pittsburghers, we've got an accidental being. We're referring to that substance via an accidental feature of it. But notice, substances are special. They can't seem to change into one another. So a human being can't become a bear, and a bear can't become a human being. So we could draw this kind of picture. So maybe you can draw it up here on this side of your handout, although you might not have enough room. But I'm going to draw it down here where I've got more room. So suppose we've got, cyclist, hunter, musician, and then you've got, let's say under Y, you've got human being, and you've got bear, and then say we've got a Z here, rides a bicycle. Yeah. Yeah. Bicycle. He's a hunter. Right. And so you could have different accidental beings like hunter or cyclist or musician that all refer to the same human being. But then those very same terms that designate this human being, cyclist, hunter, musician, they could also indicate the bear, right? So we could have a bear that's a hunter or a cyclist or a musician, right? So they could also indicate this bear. And so you can think about an accidental being. So if you have one of these terms that designates one of these accidental beings, you can analyze what the compound of it is by saying, well, it's an X, right? It's a cyclist that is a human being that rides a bicycle. So by plugging the X, Y, and Z into this formula, and X is a Y that Z is, you can give an analysis of what an accidental being is. And so if the being in question was a bear, was a cyclist bear, then it would be what? It would be a cyclist is a bear that rides a bicycle, right? So this formula is a way of spelling out, well, what is the substance? What is the real thing? What is the answer to the question, what is it for this being? And the why is what's going to get you there, right? And none of the items in line Y can be the same, right? Because human beings can't become bears and bears can't become human beings, or at least that's a symptom of it. And so there's a way in which what there really is, the things there are in the world, are going to be the things in the Y's, right? So why, if we knew if we knew, how many Y's we had, then we would have the total number of objects in the world in a kind of robust way, right? And so an X is a Y that Z's is a way of analyzing compound accidental beings and figuring out what their components are, what their simple underlying substance is, and what the accident is through which it's designated. And notice, if you plug in human being, it won't work, right? So you can't say a human being is a human being that is a human being. Like it just doesn't work if it's a simple being. And so it's only going to work with these compound accidental beings that we can give this analysis of what they are. All right, in the next video, we will turn to the account of change.